Hey, Bigger Pockets, it's Matt Faircloth. So today we're going to talk about things that you guys can do when you renovate property on how to make property management super simple for yourself and affordable as well. So renovations, when you renovate a property, it is the way that you can do, obviously we talk a lot about raising, doing things to create rent, to create value in your rental through your renovations, like putting in nice countertops, putting in better cabinets, putting in new flooring, whatever, to command like market or maybe a little above market rents for your property. But there's something else you can consider when you're renovating a property is what can I do to make property management, whether you're doing it yourself or somebody else is doing it for you, to make property management super simple and repeatable and just something that you can predict. Okay. So we're here in one of our rentals. I'm going to give you guys 3 tips on ways you can, just renovation things you guys can do to keep your property management costs down and make it super simple. We're in the living room for one of our apartments that we're in the middle of renovating right now. And so what I wanted to show off here was paint. It sounds super simple. Like, oh, just paint. Why do you want to talk about paint? I'll tell you why I want to talk about paint. We use the same paint color in all of our apartments. This paint is a paint that we get. And it's just an antique white, but we standardize. We use the same paint every time. And so if it is something that's owned or managed by my company, it's got this paint. And the reason for that is if a tenant moves out and they blemish the wall or something like that, my guys can just come through here and just touch it up. They don't have to repaint every time or have to manage like a roster to say, oh, that's 123 Main Street. What color were those walls? Because I got to go touch that up. It pays to standardize on paint. And then you could, like we even went and bought little small touch-up kits, which you can get, like a small little, like a pint of paint. We bought little ones of those, and when the tenant tells us they're moving out, we just give them the paint. It's like I'm willing to pay for it to hand it to them and have them come and touch up the walls because it's the paint that we use. Then I don't have to pay the labor to do it. So if you standardize on things like paint, you can very easily touch up, turn units around. Because we've standardized on paint, we've had circumstances where like one tenant moved out and they were out by 10 a.m. that morning, and I sent a crew in. They just came in and did touch up and cleaning. That's all they did. That's all they had to do. The tenant didn't really damage the place. They just touched up the walls and cleaned everything out. And that tenant moved out at 10 a.m. I had a new tenant move in at 4 in the afternoon the same day. Because of the way that we were able to, there wasn't major rental required. So set your units up so that renovations in between are not that hard to do. That's like the number 1 tip for renovations that you want to do to make property management simple is things like paint that can make renting and turning the unit over really simple to do. You can do the same thing with your cabinet finishes. You can do the same thing with other mechanisms in your unit by standardization, standardizing your light fixtures, standardizing everything to where one unit looks like the rest of them. So that's tip number 1. Let's go to tip number 2. All right, guys. So this is tip number 2 for doing things to keep your property management costs down and predictable for your rental properties when you guys do renovations. So this is a master key that I have, so you want to install a master key system. I'm going to show you guys the one that we use. And this is not a plug, but the system that we use is called Landlord Locks. And the way Landlord Locks works is I turn it this way to unlock the lock, right? And if I turn it the other way, I should be able to yank it out and see if I can do it. There you go. There we go. I can pull that cylinder right out of there. Cool, huh? So then what I can do is I can remove this and put a new lock in there when a different tenant moves out. If I want to change the locks in my apartments, everything that we own and manage is on a Landlord Lock system for that company, because I can change out the locks on the fly. I can pull the cylinders out, put new in. Now it takes a little bit of a step to implement that kind of system, but once you've got it, I can just change these cylinders out. Like if a tenant moved out of this building, I could take this cylinder, put it in my office, and then when I need something like this in another property, I can just put that cylinder in that property. And people aren't going to know that they got swapped out, and it gets rotated throughout properties and everything like that. So you don't have to buy new every time a tenant moves. You can just take a cylinder here, take one you've got sitting in the spare drawer at your office, and pop the new one in. And nobody's going to know, the key that they had from a property they lived at 5 years ago at one of your properties across town is now over here. They're not going to think to try that, so it's fine and safe and you can keep the number, you see these all have number codes on them, so you can keep the number code in your office and keep track of what's on each door. So the bottom line is systemization for property management. So the first step was to keep costs down for reno. The second step is systems. System. This is a phenomenal system. Other systems you guys can consider are things like video cameras. We recently did a thing talking about video cameras. And there's other systems that you guys can put in that are on-site systems, not like online stuff, like online rent payments and stuff like that are other systems. But we're talking about things you guys can do during construction. And door locking mechanisms and systems like this are a great way to minimize property management costs once you're up and running and moving forward on the property. So do one more. Come on upstairs. All right, guys, so here's the last one that you guys can do to during your construction phase for property management expenses to keep them low, keep them predictable. And this one is durability, okay? We're going to talk about flooring now. So you guys got to look a little close here. So we're going to talk about this flooring right here. See this? That's nice, pretty hardwood floors. Now, these are nice planks. This will sand. Believe it or not, this has been painted. I don't know who would have thunk to do that, but you can sand this floor to make it, look all nice and pretty like that. It'll cost probably reasonable. I think that our local guy does it for somewhere around $1.70 a square foot to sand and stain hardwood floors. And what you do is we like to sand them, and then we put 3 coats of polyurethane on top to where they're like almost bulletproof, But I don't do carpet because carpet is not durable. It's nice, it's pretty, it is nice and cushy and stuff like that. But carpet, if your tenants have animals, if they have kids, if they have anything, if they spill a glass of wine, whatever it is, it will stain the carpets. And although you can dig on the security deposit, you're not going to restore those floors back to their original color. When I sand out these floors, it's going to be like a nice thick sheen. Like I'll put so much polyurethane on, it'll be like your fingernail. Like there'll be so much, it'll be nice and thick plastic thing on top. The tenants could, they could, so you don't put a stain. You don't put stain, just a nice clear coat. And the reason for that is that if the tenant drags something across it and scrapes or whatever, you'll rarely see it. It'll just be the natural wood hue. If you can't do sanded hardwood floors like this, you can put in laminate vinyl tile, or you can put in just laminate sheet good product or whatever that looks like vinyl floor. It looks like wood floors, but has they make stuff that has a 10-year warranty on it. So if I didn't have these floors here, I would put in some kind of a vinyl product down on the floors. It has like a wood finish to it, but is extremely strong, extremely durable. Stuff that's got a long-term warranty on it. That's like scratch-proof and everything like that too. It's nice, it'll help you sell your unit, but it's durable. If you're going to do carpet, just do it in the bedrooms because that just provides a nice cushy sound. Tenants will like to have carpet. Some people like to have carpet in their bedrooms so they don't have to put their feet on cold wood floor when they get up in the morning. But that's the only place you should be doing if you're doing it anywhere at all. Let them get a throw rug and just put the wood floors down if you can, because it'll be the most durable flooring you can get. So those are the 3 guys, the 3 things you guys can do during construction to keep your property management expenses predictable and low during your time of ownership. And real quick, is durability through things like floors, systems through things like landlord key door locks, and lowering your renovation cost during unit turns with things like standardized paint colors. Okay, leave comments below. I'm sure there's other stuff that we could talk about that are out there to lower property management expenses. So leave some comments in the bar below, and we can get into some chatter about it. So thanks for watching, guys. Have a great profitable week.